CBS News legal analyst Jack Ford joins us now. Jack, good morning.
Charlie, good morning.
So what happens if, in fact, there had been, in her own words, a legally request she be taken off life support if, in fact, she was brain dead?
If you didn't have the law in Texas that says that you cannot withdraw life-sustaining support from somebody who is pregnant, if you didn't have that, then you have a different scenario, because then you could have either a written, what they call advance directive, a living will that said, do this or don't do this, and the hospital would follow it. You might have a document that's essentially a power of attorney, a medical power of attorney that says you can make decisions for me if I can't, and that could decide it. Or you could have a scenario, as we have here, where family members would say, we've talked about this, right, and we know that this is what she would want to do. And usually, unless somebody's arguing, the hospital will follow that. Here, it's complicated because you have this statute in Texas, one of the states, that says we are going to recognize that another life is involved in this.
So what options do the family have?
Well, at this juncture, you know, if they've talked with the hospital, but the hospital is in a classic between a rock and a hard place. The hospital has said, we want to provide compassionate care for our patients, but we've got to follow the law here. So I think what you're going to see is it's going to end up in a courtroom someplace.
This is a really interesting case because, one, there are issues about not having a directive, and as you said, the family usually gets. But in this case, it involves another life. It involves a baby. She's pregnant, and now that baby is 18 weeks old, and 8 weeks maybe less before viability. So they're going to keep her alive until the baby is born?
Well, that's what you're thinking is going to happen right now. That's why I'm saying I think the family will get into court. You know, when you look at these scenarios, I've talked about this before. My daughter's a cancer surgeon. She trained as an OBGYN. She's at the University of Pennsylvania Hospital, and they've experienced these types of situations. And one of the issues is, how long can you keep a person viable so you can protect the viability of the fetus? That's a medical problem. But I think what you will see here is, and based on what the family is saying, their argument is, we don't want that to happen, because she would not have wanted that to happen, and we understand what the law says about the fetus. So I think the battle you'll see in the courtroom is that her family will say that the statute says you can't withdraw life-sustaining support. And I think her family will argue, but you know what? She is, by one of the definitions of death, which says irreversible cessation of total brain function, they'll say she's dead. So their argument will be, this is not life-sustaining because she's dead at this juncture, but it's a very, very difficult issue that has so many layers to it.
Really complicated. Jack Ford, thank you.
All right, Nora.